drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets. When I'm performing, never boring, now you can't afford it. Champagne Perrier, vintage friend.
What up, what up, what up? What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the King and I Life podcast. It's your boy, Soul Touch of the Poet, and my brother.
Son Soul X.
Ladies and gentlemen, we was just talking. 7th annual Purple Gala down in Columbia, South Carolina, hosted by She Did That Events, is going to be on Saturday, October 8th, 2022. So go on Eventbrite, look up Purple Gala. It will pop up. Get your tickets, get your tickets, get your tickets. You don't want to miss this event. I've only missed one. I said, life willing, I will not miss another. Son Soul X, what you got for the people?
And of course, you guys can always reach out to us at KingAndEye369@gmail.com. Again, that's KingAndEye369@gmail.com. Again, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, if you have any topics that you would like for us to discuss, or if you would like to come on the platform for yourself and chop it up with us, by all means, reach out to us. We're open and ready.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah, man, it's been pretty chill around here. What about down there in your area?
Everything was pretty good, man. Everything was pretty good. Weather turned a little sour on us the last part of the day, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, pretty much. You know how that go. You know exactly how that go. But yeah, man, for the people out there, we're gonna have a little fun conversation. If you want to join the conversation, the link is in the chat. So definitely join in on us because we're gonna be talking about interesting topic that we have touched on before, but we're not gonna be serious this time.
No, we're gonna back off the seriousness. Try to have a little fun with this one.
Yeah. What else we got going on, man?
We got another musical guest we are hoping to have on our platform.
Yeah.
Their music is really phenomenal. I mean, all bullshit aside, this group or band, however you want to put it, they are really putting out dope material.
Yeah.
But the name of their group is Carly and the Universe, and I'm encouraging all of you to go check them out on YouTube. You will, if you like jazz, if you like rhythm and blues, if you like hip hop, if you like rock and roll, I mean, to me, they kind of embody all of that, even a little bit of blues. So, again, check them out, man. The music is dope. Carly and the Universe.
Carly and the Universe. Yeah, go check it out. I'm gonna throw a link in the chat to their website. Yeah. But yeah, they got this new song out. What's it called? Chitter Chat.
Chatter.
Yeah, Chitter Chat is pretty dope.
Dope.
Yeah. But again, if you want to join the conversation with us, the link is pinned to the top. So we're gonna be talking about It Ain't Where You From. So to jump into it, if you followed us for any amount of time, you've probably heard us discuss and debate family background, where we originate from, to be called Black, African American, or Indigenous, etc. We recently, Sun Soul X sent me a video yesterday, and it was talking about the validity of DNA tests, claiming to be able to identify what specific area of the world people are from, mainly people of darker skin. Everyone has their points of references in research and this, that, and the other that they stand on. So we're going to debate ours, just a seriously lighthearted discussion. So again, if you want to join the conversation, hit that pinned link for Restream and join us. Sun Soul X. What you got to say so far?
I'll just simply say that I would encourage everyone to do their own research. Um, as far as the elders within your family, ask questions because they are truly the bookkeepers, as they say. They heard it from directly from their descendants about exactly who they are and where they're from. So again, I'm just encouraging people find out where your family is from, where your family roots at,
Do your
and we'll
best.
proceed from there.
Do your best.
Yes, sir.
um, I'm going to stand on what I say. Well, I have been saying on here several times. There is no amount of research that can tell each and every one of us exactly where we are from. I stand by that. I stand by that. I stand by that. And after watching that video that you sent me, I firmly stand by it. There is no way on earth, unless your family has documented your lineage meticulously, we will never, ever, ever know exactly where on this planet we are from, with the exception of those of us that know exactly where we were born. That's where I stand on that.
I agree with you. I have absolutely no pushback on that. Um, Again, the only thing we can do is go through our family history, meaning the documents that our family has handed down from generation to generation, so on and so forth.
Mhm.
So, again, I have to agree with you on that.
All right. So let's jump into it.
All right.
Um, so the first question is, where do you feel like you, as an individual, originate?
Um, well, as you all
Other
know,
than Alabama.
um, I feel like this, man. My family history is very extensive. We're mixed with white, what some call black, Creole, and we have another mixture somewhere. I can't think of it right now.
Mhm.
Well, what some people call Indians. But
Right.
anyway, so it's kind of like my family is very mixed,
Right.
to
Right.
say the least. But if I had to go by what I know of my family history, I'm going to say we're from Turtle Island. And for those of you who don't know what or who Turtle Island is, if
We'll
you're
get into
here within the continent of the U.S., you are standing on Turtle Island.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little later.
For sure, for sure.
Oh man.
And you,
Other than being born in New York. Okay, so
right?
uh I would have to go with uh damn. I mean, I kind of know how to answer it, but I don't know how to answer it. So I'm gonna answer it with this.
Right.
I'm going to say uh I originate from the Caribbean, Africa by way of the Caribbean. That's what I'm going to say. Um,
Okay.
and I say that because when I look at the population on the earth, most of the people that look like me are from Africa. So that's what I go with. Um, I would find it, and I say that because I find it difficult to believe in the notion that individuals of my complexion originated from somewhere else. It because it's kind of like saying if let's just say if the theory is that we originated here, then I would be my question would be, well, why are there so many people that look like me in Africa then? Are you trying to tell me that they all left from here and went over there? Like, so how does that dynamic work for the experts out there that say, well, black people or people of our complexion originated here? But then again, as we get deeper into this conversation, you'll see why we have our own theories.
Correct. So, thoughts on the majority of darker skinned people being from Africa and the Middle East, regardless of obvious differences?
All right. So when you look at obvious differences, you look at hair texture because people in the northern part of um, Africa have straighter hair and lighter skin. If you look in the Middle East, they also have straighter hair and lighter skin, but their complexion is generally the same as ours. So my thoughts on the majority of dark skinned people being from Africa, it kind of sits right with me because if you look at the climate there, um, that climate is more suitable to us. Um, if you look at how they talk about um, skin complexion as it pertains to the environment overall. um, this climate is not so much suitable for darker skinned people such as myself. So, I mean, so that's where I'm at with that.
Well, I feel like this, and this is just me doing my own personal research. Um, Africa, or African people, people from that continent, um, who are spread out throughout that again that continent. They're kind of like us, but not like us. Meaning, again, the facial features, the hair features, the bone structures,
Hmm.
and it's a wide debate about the actual name of Africa. You know, I can't go into details about it because I don't have any of that information in front of me. But how can a nation supposedly of darker skinned, melanated people be named after someone that doesn't look anything like them? So, again, no disrespect, but history or the history that they present to us is telling us that. So, again, if you're saying that, or people, let me back up. If they are saying, meaning the so-called researchers are saying that we all originate in Africa, I can't say I believe that. Again, based off of my own research, um, the names of all continents have been changed from the original. They're all named usually after someone that doesn't even look like anyone from that particular continent. But I say that to say that the U.S., if people would indulge in doing the actual research, again, you will find that United States, the original name is not the United States. And I'll leave it at that.
My response to that, as far as the continent named Africa and the people being called Africans, um, you have to take continent names with a grain of salt. And I say that because at one point, there was a landmass on this planet that they called Pangea. So when you look at it from that perspective, whatever modern name that they give to any landmass on this planet should be taken with a grain of salt. I don't think that it should directly correlate with the people on that particular continent. Meaning, if you're from Africa, then you're African. If you're from Asia, then you're Asian. Because if you break up Asia into all its individual countries on each continent, each one is named something else. If you
Right.
look at Europe, Europe is a big continent and it's broken up into different countries. We can widely say, hey, everyone there is European. But when you start breaking it down, they identify as something else. You got Norwegian, you got Dutch, you got Icelandic, you got German, you got Italian, you got Spanish. You have so many things. So to look at it from the name of the continent is kind of like selling yourself short on what actually the demographics of the people are. So, and then when you look, even if you look at America, who decided to name it America? The people who came over here and colonized it, so to speak. What was it called before then? Do we actually know what it was called before then? No. Do we know what it was called before that? No. Throughout history, man has found the way to, I guess, discern how these land masses split apart, became them individual cells, and they decided to name them what they are. My uh, Another example of that could be the modern calendar. Why do we follow the modern calendar? Because that is the standard of the world. Before the modern calendar, what was there? Who knows? They had a different calendar. I think we're on the Julian calendar. I think that's what it's called now. But before then, it was called something else. And before then, it was called something else. And then we go back to the time where there was no such thing as a calendar. And I say that to say, when you look at these land masses, we go back to a time where there was no name for these land masses. So that's my response to that.
I'll say this: the history is there, but again, how many people actually take the time to do their own research besides just being informed by what the supposedly historians tell us? So again, everything has a name before the name it was given. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. And to respond to that part, the historians know more than what us average bears know. Um, and I do agree. Everything had a name before then. But if you go far back enough in time, there were languages that are no longer around here. So those languages that are no longer around, none of us, modern historians or even historians from 200 years ago, know what those languages were. So whatever these land masses were called back then, we have no clue because the language is lost and most of the historical data, for lack of a better term, is lost. Every landmass that is currently named is named by modern man, and modern man cannot go back far enough to say what these landmasses were called before modern language. So who knows what they were called? We don't know. And that further goes back to, you know, the majority of dark skinned people being in Africa. Again, We have to remove the name of the continent and as a means of identifying the people, and just look at the demographics of the people there. We know in through history, modern history, that Europeans went down to Africa and displaced a lot of Africans. We know that. We know that Europeans came over here and displaced the people of this land. Do we know exactly what all those people looked like? No. Do we know exactly what they were called? No. They were called whatever the language of that time called them, and it transferred generation after generation until it became equally acceptable around the world.
So does DNA get shuffled? Well, DNA gets shuffled and remixed every generation. Does this make it harder to determine proper lineage?
So watching that video, I took a couple of notes.
All right.
And when it comes to DNA shuffling and remixing, this is what I took down. DNA shuffling and remixing makes it impossible to know what comes from whom. And in that part right there, um, with every child, there are two things that's passed down. The Y chromosome is passed down from the father, and the mitochondria is passed down from the mother. Those are two things that are unmistakably passed down. Um, and it further goes on to say, and I'm paraphrasing it, an individual's ancestry is vast. So by saying that, in 8 generation, each person has 256 great, 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 great grandparents. So yes, it makes it very difficult.
I would agree with that statement.
Yeah. So to further go on with that, I'm not a mathematician, so I had to go with the math that they did in the video, and I did double check it because I'm not that bright, but I got common sense. So every generation, your number of grandparents doubles. And we have to look at that as it changing your perspective. So for instance, we have two parents. We have four grandparents. We have eight great grandparents, 16 great great grandparents, 32 great 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 grandparents. What are your thoughts on that when you look at I'm from Turtle Island, or I'm from Africa, or I'm from India? How do you break that down in your head?
Um, Simply, and again, this is just me. I don't have the proper documentation, as they say, as I'm sure a whole lot of other people don't have. But what I do know is, and what I feel is, we're all connected to the universe in some shape, form, or fashion. I can't tell you what the next person feels or what their thoughts are, but again, from my DNA that's been handed down from generation to generation, and my thoughts and my connection to the universe, I feel I'm again from Turtle Island. So I can't say for sure where all of my ancestors are from, but for me and the history that I've learned talking through the elders in my family, we are Niji's Cherokee, if you want to be more specific.
I mean, that's a fair statement. Very fair statement. Um, I mean, me personally, I don't go as far as to call United States Turtle Island. That's just my preference.
Right.
Because throughout my lifetime, and I can say 8 generations before me, this was called America. So that's how I look at it. As far as when I look at having 256 great grandparents to the sixth power, that's a lot of damn people.
That it
Um,
is.
that's so many people that even reinforces me saying I can't say for certain where I'm from, what my bloodline is. Um, because also in that video, the other interesting part of that video was, um, again, they said that you get the Y chromosome from your father and mitochondria from your mother. So that means with each generation, you can only be certain of two links. And when you look at those two links, let's say your father's side goes this way, your mother's side goes this way. Everything in the middle could be anything. And bringing it back to the DNA test, we both could have Irish in us. We both could have Asian in us. We both could have South American in us. We can have anything in us, but at the end of the day, we'll just never know, um, because of the dynamics of that. And what I find interesting is when I watch stuff on Smithsonian Channel, National Geographic, and stuff like that, when they do those DNA tests for those mummies or fossils or bones and stuff, that the skeletons and stuff that they find, I find it interesting. Well, not interesting because I know that's a deeper scientific field than the DNA test that we purchase from these websites. Um, so I just think it's interesting that, you know, there's always a debate of, well, I'm from here, well, I'm from here, well, I'm from there, and this, that, and the other. When, again, unless your family kept meticulous records, you just don't know.
Well said.
So, how do you personally feel about DNA testing companies? And some of the examples out there are Ancestry, 23andMe, Family Tree DNA, My Heritage, and African Ancestry.
I think they're a good thing simply because they can connect DNA dots, meaning your blood type, um, diseases that may have exist within your bloodline. They can identify if you're related to someone or not
Hmm.
because of your blood type. But there are things that I don't disagree with or
Hmm.
agree with, sorry, as far as like them being able to keep your DNA,
Hmm.
them being able to basically do whatever the hell they want to with your DNA, and you are not allowed to retrieve your DNA. So that's my biggest thing. But
Hmm.
I think that um, hello, Jenny. I think that is a good thing for those who want to know more about their DNA. But as far as them identifying exactly what continent you come from, I'm skeptical on that. And I'll leave it at that.
um, so, my thoughts on that. I don't have a high promotion or a high gripe for or against them.
Right.
Um, and I say that because our DNA is in the system anyway, or somewhere anyway. It doesn't matter what we think, what we believe, what conspiracy theories we follow, what facts we agree with or don't disagree with, what lies we agree with or don't disagree with. Fact of the
Right.
matter is, our DNA is in somebody's lab already. Um, we have to consider that all of us have been to a doctor several times in our lives, several times. Um, a lot of us have had surgeries. A lot of us have had colonoscopies. A lot of us have had um, our blood checked for cholesterol, hypertension. Um, what else? What's the other one? Diabetes and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So our DNA is in somebody's lab somewhere. Um, if you're a person like me who gets a physical every year, they take my blood every year. If you've been on a job and had to do drug testing, you peed in a cup. So when it comes to these DNA companies, I get a lot of people's hesitation and skepticism, but at the same time, who you more worried about? These DNA companies or the medical field having your DNA? Because at some point, or even the government, because at one point they're all in each other's pockets. So
True. I would
it
agree with that.
to me it doesn't matter. But again, I don't knock anybody's skepticism. I just want people to really think about it from an open-minded point of view, because you swabbing your cheek for saliva to send off to this company, but hell, your doctor took your blood. um what has more DNA information in it, your blood or your saliva?
Can't debate that one. Can't debate that one. Only thing I can say is I totally agree with you. They're all in cahoots with each other, however you want to take that. But as far as like your DNA being in someone's laboratory or someone's record keeping, they've been taking our damn DNA since we were kids. So
Exactly.
yeah, you somewhere. Everybody, if you were born here, your DNA is somewhere.
If you was born anywhere on this planet, your DNA is somewhere.
I don't know
And,
now. I don't know. I have to disagree with you on that one because there are
okay,
still some continents where they don't have doctors like that.
there are continents where they don't have doctors like that, but there are those continents that don't have doctors, they had people go study those people. So, and for instance, there's an island, I can't remember exactly where it is. I want to say it's in the Pacific Ocean somewhere.
Hmm.
But this island does not have outsiders on it at all. And the reason why this island does not have outsiders on it at all, because these people, their immune systems are not compatible with ours. So like, even if like me or you went there in good health, we can get them sick and kill off their population. And anybody who tries to get on that island, they will kill you. So I agree. There's no doctors on these islands, but everybody has been studied on this planet. Um, and the other thing about that is this is why we have modern medicine. They're taking our DNA and they're studying it. So when you go to the doctor and give your pee, give your blood or your saliva or your snot, piss, shit, whatever, somebody is studying it to move modern medicine along. Because without that, we wouldn't have modern medicine. I mean, that's how I look at it.
I would agree with that.
So, have you or would you do a DNA test?
I want to keep it clean, but no,
Mm,
I feel like the reason I wouldn't because, I mean, well, let me take that back. If there's a company where they could do my DNA
mhm.
and give me all of my information back, including that swab or whatever the hell it was that they took from me, I'll be perfectly fine with that. But other than giving up my DNA to a company who can pretty much do what in the hell they want to with it after they've taken it, no.
You want the swab back?
Goddamn right, I want it back.
That's like having sex with a woman and ejaculating her in her and say, "I want my nut back."
No, no, it's not.
Yeah, because
No,
look at it like this: you swab your cheek, you send that to them, they take it, they put it in the lab. What are you gonna do with that swab?
it's mine.
You petty.
You goddamn right. When it comes to my DNA, I'm petty as hell. But check
You
this
are
out though.
petty.
The thing about it again is, um, if you're doing something on my behalf, I'm requesting it. So any information that I give to you, it's only fair or proper that I receive that information back.
Mm.
So it's no different than having sex with a woman and using a condom.
What if you
The
don't use the
contents
condom?
of, well, for me, I would use a condom. If I'm using a condom, the contents of that condom belongs to me. It doesn't belong to her.
But you're not giving a condom to her.
Exactly.
But you're giving your swab DNA to this company.
Exactly. So that
That's
means
kind
if
of
I
different.
want it back, I want it back.
I don't know. That's a bit much.
Look at what happened to what's his name? Hot sauce guy.
You talking
What's
about
his name?
Drake?
Yes.
I don't
the
even know if
content
that's a true
the
story.
content of that condom belonged to him. And she tried to take the contents of that condom without his permission, right? And you
That's
see what happened. Now she's suing his ass because she tried to steal his DNA.
you know what? I'm going to say this about that
All right,
because
go ahead.
I saw the headline and I didn't read the story. That is some childish, ridiculous, buffoonery, back ass bullshit. My thing is this: if you have sex with a person by your own free will, your own choice, and you choose to sue because this person tried to get your DNA, one, both individuals need to get their fucking head checked. Both of them. Two, if that was your mindset before having sex with that person, you shouldn't have had sex with that person. Like, and I know this is off the subject a little bit, but why have sex with a person where you have to worry about doing that? That's weird to me. That is totally weird to me. Yeah, that's weird. That's weird.
I mean, I get his reasoning for doing it. I mean, look how many professional athletes have been found in a court paying child support on a child they had no idea they were having.
You want to know what that boils down to? Keep your dick in your pants.
You can't stop human beings from being human beings.
You can but human beings can make themselves be responsible.
Exactly. So that's why they use condoms.
No,
But their
no,
biggest
no.
problem is they don't dispose of the condoms correctly.
I
They
get
leave
it.
themselves open like that.
I get it. I get it. But that goes back to what I'm saying. If you have to go through all of that, then you should not be laying down with that person. Period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it for me. Like, that's just like me saying back in my day, in my whole days, when I was laying around with whoever and I was skeeting all up in them, if one of them got pregnant, that's on me. Whether I use the condom or not, that's on me. Why? Because I chose to lay down with them. I can't be like, oh, let me get the hot sauce and pour it in here and destroy my DNA because she might try to get me. It's like, if I got to worry about that, I should have laid with someone who I chose to build a relationship with, a long-term relationship with. That's I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird. I don't know. I don't know.
So let me ask you this then. So every female you laid down with, you mean you wouldn't mind having a child with them?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the majority of the females that I laid down with, I was doing it irresponsibly because the potential of having a child with them was there. That's what I'm saying. Now, if I have to bring it forward to this whole Drake and the hot sauce thing, if that was my mindset, then I should not have laid down with that woman. Period. It's just mind blowing to me. If you are not mentally or financially or mature enough to deal with the consequences of what may be happening, don't fucking do it. It's that simple. We can say all day, oh, but you can't stop human nature. Well, that's why we got a bunch of dumb motherfuckers out here crying and whining about the damn child support system. That's exactly why.
All
Keep
right.
your dick in your pants, or ladies, keep your legs closed. We won't have this problem. And going bringing it back to the conversation,
Hmm.
we won't have this issue of where am I from?
Okay. We'll move on.
um, but to jump back on the DNA test, I did two. I did ancestry, and I did my heritage. I'm waiting for the results from my heritage. Um, so I did also took notes on this from the video.
All right.
So in the video, they were saying genetic ancestry tests claim that they can provide ancestral lineage and social groups. Um, and then it all further goes on to say how the narrator was disagreeing with it from something that he was reading. Present day patterns of residence are rarely identical to what existed in the past, and social groups change over time in name and composition. And these DNA tests have false leads. They cannot pinpoint origin, social affiliation with exact certainty. Um, when I read that, well, when I listened to that and read along with what he was reading, that part of the video kind of invalidated the point of the whole video. And I say that because it is common sense and common knowledge that patterns of residence are not identical to what they were years ago. They're not even the same as they were 60 years ago. They're not the same as they were 100 years ago. So that kind of was like, duh. Um, and then it also, when you talk about past social groups changed over time in name and composition, duh. Like, it, when you look at this stuff, you have to pay attention to the little details, because if you miss the little details, you miss the bigger picture. Um, of course, social groups have changed over time, in name and composition. If you look at the average family now, you have interracial families. So yes, social groups changed. Um, you have uh, I mean, if you just look at the migration of people who migrated on their own,
Right.
eventually their social groups changed in name and composition. You have Egyptians with Romans. You have uh, uh what do you have on that?
I mean, it's kind of obvious, like you said. I mean, people from all over. You know, my thing is this: if your family history comes all the way from the deep parts of Europe, and the other side of your family comes from the deep part of, let's say, South Africa or something like that, and everything in between, then yes, I mean, it's so obvious. Everything is definitely going to have a mixture of damn near everything. But I think when it comes down to, again, uh, facial features, bone structures, things of that nature. That tells you, based off the previous bones, if you will, that were found on whatever continent, if that matches what's currently on that continent, bingo. But if it don't, then that's when the question comes into, okay, so if you aren't from this continent, where are you from? And that's where the research comes in.
But at the end of the day, as I've said on previous podcasts, all this research is someone's best guess or assumption, and it's a collective effort. Because when you look at, okay, so again, I love watching Smithsonian Channel, National Geographic, stuff like that.
Right.
So in South America, they found a mummified young girl in a mountain somewhere, frozen. And from their research, it was established that she walked like 1,000 miles, and she was a human sacrifice to the gods. Um, so when you talk about bones being skeletons or whatever being found in certain places and matching up and this, that, and the other, do you realize that our bone structure as it is current is vastly different from what it was when Francis Scott Key wrote the damn Star Spangled Banner? Did you know that?
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't think a lot of people know that or take that into consideration because Francis Scott Key was a pretty short fella for his age. Like I'm probably like almost a foot taller than Francis Scott Key, and he was a grown ass goddamn man. So when we look at all when we look at all this stuff, it's easy to stay on the surface of these things because we feel what we feel. But again, if we go back just a short little bit, our our lineage is so vast that I don't know, man. It's just I don't know.
Yeah. I see. So, what are your pros and cons to DNA testing?
What's up, red lipstick vibes? um, my pros and cons to DNA testing. I have to say the biggest pro is that I actually found a blood cousin doing the DNA testing. Um, I know this is my blood cousin because through the we had a conversation and we were on the phone for like an hour and a half, 2 hours,
Right.
and well, her initial well, I sent her a message and I said, "Hey, I think you're my cousin." I recognized the name, but her last name on Ancestry was different from what her last name is. So she started asking me. She asked me who I was related to, and I just threw the names out. Boom, 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 because we have the same aunts and uncles.
Right.
So that brought us to exchanging phone numbers. And while we talked, we were talking about family members and this and that and that and that and that. So a pro is I was actually able to find a blood cousin. Mind you, I heard of her years ago, but nobody in our family linked us together.
Hmm.
Through that conversation, I found out that she has had contact with my mother and my sister, which pissed me off because it's like, yo, how dare you have my cousin's contact information and not give it to me for me to have a relationship with my cousin? Um, so when it comes to pros, I look at it that you get you get are able to find family members and relatives. You are able to start building your lineage, um, which can take you, if you meet enough people, verified people that are related to you, you can go back to a certain uh, point in your family tree, um, which can help you dis- discover where you're from. Because that conversation with her, it um, I found out that my mother and her siblings have like there's was what, nine of them, and there's like
Hmm.
three or like three, 4 or 5 fathers. I found that out.
Wow.
Um, a con to that would be high expectations. um, because when you do that, and let's just say you have high hopes for it and you do it and you do find nobody, you're going to be disappointed. You find one person, you get pumped, and maybe you don't find any more, you'll get disappointed. I'm not going to say the cost is a con, because they really don't cost that much, and most of us can piss $100 away in 2 3 days, maybe a week, on bullshit. um but those are my two biggest pros and cons. What about you?
I'm sorry. I know some people are gonna blow $100 in a minute. Half a minute, damn it. But I see the pros and cons. Again, I can't say that I participated in
Mhm.
taking a DNA test, but um, again, going off of your experiences, I see that it could come in definitely handy. Again,
Mhm.
like you said, you just recently found out you have a cousin you didn't even you may have heard of, but you really didn't know for sure that existed until you had a conversation.
Right.
Um, I'll say this though, it's not the cost of it. Again, like you said, that would be an issue. I think that for some people, they may be disappointed by some of the results that they find
Mhm.
for whatever reason. Again, I'm not them; I can't walk in their shoes.
Right.
Um, I will say the older that I get, the more relatives I'm discovering just through chance that I have.
Mhm.
My great grandparents had 17 kids on my mother's side alone.
Mm.
So it's kind of like, as again, as time goes on, I discover more and more people from both sides, but mostly from my mother's side.
Right.
So yeah, I can see how it's useful.
Mhm. I think the bigger thing about it is, I mean, again, I don't criticize anybody's apprehensions as far as, oh, they're gonna have my DNA, this, that, and the other. But again, you know, your DNA is somewhere. Like, they still using Henrietta Lacks DNA. So I mean, it
Exactly.
if
Exactly.
if that is any form of comfort for you, put that into perspective when you think about, well, I don't want to do this DNA test because this, that, and the other. Again, you're here for a short minute, you're gonna die, and when you die, they're gonna get your DNA anyway. So I mean, it just does not matter to me. It doesn't matter, because I'm looking at the bigger picture. Um, because of course, when you die, they're going to take a sample of your DNA and see, hey, what this is and what that is, and we have no goddamn control over that. And when you're dead, you can't be like, make sure you put all my DNA back in me before you cremate me or bury me. We have no say so. Um, so when I think about the pros and cons, I look at it that way. Um, another bit of math before we move on, that I got from the video. In 20 generations, ladies and gentlemen, we have over 1 million grandparents. And the exact number that was calculated in the video, again, I'm not a mathematician, but I'm not too dull. I'm not the dullest light bulb. We have exactly 1,048,576 grandparents, great grandparents. 1,048,576 great grandparents. So going back to the beginning of this conversation about where do we feel like we're from as an individual? Where do we originate? How do you even begin to absorb that and break that down? It's easy to say, "Oh, I'm from such and such." So X says he's from this continent. I'm from this continent, and for whatever summary or whatever the case may be, that's about as far as I care to take it because I don't have the bandwidth in my brain or in my patience to go any further than that. It would be nice to know, but damn, in just in 8 generations, that's 256 great grandparents. 8 generations. And again, I'm not a mathematician, but I'm pretty sure probably around the fifth or sixth generation, maybe they're not from this continent. Possibly. I don't know.
So let's talk Turtle Island.
Yes, let's talk your favorite place, Turtle Island. So when you when you talk about Turtle Island, what is the significance of it to you? And what research have you invested your time in to be concretely on the notion of Turtle Island?
As far as the research that I done, again, I don't have it in front of me, but going by my family's history and the parts of it I was able to get physical um, documents on, besides my elders, meaning my aunties, uncles, and grandparents. Um, None of them can tell me that we came from a different place.
You mean outer space?
No, meaning a different continent. Uh, so again, based off of my own research, I'm from here. So again, the true research of some of my family's history was again missing or supposedly no longer available through various means.
Hmm.
Again, I have no control over that, so I can only go based off of what I was able to find.
Okay.
But again, Turtle Island, uh, for those who are willing to do their research, I think they will be surprised by the information that they find.
Mm.
I'll leave it at that.
All right. So when I think about Turtle Island, and no one can tell me that we're from anywhere else but here. Again, for me, that goes back 2, 3 generations at most. Of course, I'm from this continent. It can't be mistaken. Um, do I choose to call North America Turtle Island? Hell no. I just don't choose to call that because to me that's just being extra. And that's just me. No knock on anybody else. That's just me. Um, this is to me, it's North America, it's the United States of America, it's the Western Hemisphere, whatever. How they decided to call this the Western Hemisphere and the other side Eastern Hemisphere. I don't give two flying shits. Um, so yeah, Turtle Island. Um, I did mild research um, um, about it, and what I found was Turtle Island is a name for Earth or North America used by some indigenous peoples in Canada and United States, as well as some indigenous rights activists. The name is based on a common North American indigenous creation story and is in some cultures synonymous with North America. Um, that being said, the other part of this that I read is that the entire Earth is Turtle Island, and how it came to be was that there were so many animals or whatever trying to find the bottom of the ocean, and they couldn't find the bottom of the ocean. So, um, what was it? Where was it? Where was it? So pretty much, they brought dirt from the bottom of the ocean to the top on the back of a turtle, and that's how it came to be Turtle Island. Um, Again, for me, this is one of these things that I don't have the mental bandwidth or the patience to even go far back to even comprehend where that story came from or that designation came from or why. The other thing that I found was that term was first used by Europeans. But again, as Sun Solek says, go do your own research if you care to. um, Again, when I think about continents, they are named appropriately as far as the current language that we comprehend today. Again, this was all one landmass. So when it was all one landmass, did they call this whole one landmass Turtle Island? Don't know. Where did Pangea come from? Don't know. Somebody decided to call it Pangea. I don't remember what they called it or whatever the case may be. All I know is from what I learned in school, the tectonic plates, the fault lines in the ocean, the volcanoes, and all this, that, and the other shifted the continents, this, and the other. And this is why we have what we have today. As far as people go, hell, if you were stuck on this part, you got stuck here. If you were stuck on the other part, you got stuck there. And when a joker decided to find out what a boat was and make a boat, they sailed elsewhere. I don't know.
Uh, so we already kind of touched on North America. So all land on the planet being one mass. What say ye?
um, do I believe it? Yeah, I do believe it. And that further goes on to again, when we talk about Turtle Island, when we talk about Africa, Europe, Asia, whatever the case may be, North America, Australia, the evidence is there. We still have earthquakes, we still have volcanoes. When volcanoes erupt, the lava spills into the ocean, it cools real fast, it creates land. Earthquake moves the earth together, it creates mountains. So um the planet being one landmass, I can see it. Again, this is and this is from what I've learned in school, and from what I even observed myself. Um,
Mhm.
because we all know that the tides in the ocean and water shapes land as well, or else we wouldn't have any rivers. The Mississippi cuts through America, um, and it's this, that, and other. So, of course, it takes a significant amount of time for these things to happen. So I mean, I don't doubt that it was one landmass. What about you?
Yeah, I think that at one point it may have been one landmass. As far as what it actually is today. I don't think it's entirely what they're telling us it is, meaning sizes of certain continents are not actually the size that they're portraying them as. But again, that's just my personal opinion.
What you mean by that? They're not the size that they're portraying them as.
Um, the continent Africa
Hmm.
is a hell of a lot bigger than what they're telling us it is.
What you mean?
Meaning there are several other continents around the world that can fit in Africa, no problem.
You talking about the way that
The
they
actual
measure the size of Africa?
the actual land mass itself. That's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
I mean, um, I don't. I'm trying to figure out how to follow that. The only way that I don't, yeah, I don't know how to follow that. The only way I could say, however they measured the land of each continent is how they measured the land of each continent. Does that account for what's underwater? Probably not. Does that account for the size of the highest mountains? Don't know. I mean, if you flatten the mountain, of course you got more land mass. If you count for the amount of land that's underwater to a certain distance, I guess that accounts for it. So I mean I really don't know how to follow that one.
It's cool. So, um, are there any resources, people, and or studies that can actually or accurately map one's lineage today?
um it would have to be an exhausting effort. Um and I say that because the using us for an example, we only know what we've been told. And I'm sure there's a lot that we do not know. Um, and as people die off in our families, that's knowledge lost. And we have, I know for me, I have very little to pass on to my children. So with that being said, um, I don't think our lineage can be accurately mapped. I just I have a hard time believing that. Um, because for instance, I don't know my grandfather. So I don't know either one of my grandfathers. Only know, and as I've said before, I only know one grandmother. Um, so if I look at it from that perspective, I would have to say no. What about you?
I think it can be documented, but again,
Accurately?
for us, we can't accurately.
Hmm.
But we already said that the government has all of our DNAs somewhere,
Hmm.
so it's documented somewhere. We
Hmm.
just don't have access to those documents.
Hmm.
Uh, Move on from that.
I mean, I can agree with you that our DNA is somewhere, but as far as um being able to accurately map our lineage, then we got to look at it like this. How far back does, well, not how far back, accurate DNA studies that we have today have not been around that long. So I guess if you even go back, oh my God, to what? Maybe the 70s, 80s, when DNA was first started being popular, using to solve crimes and stuff. Before then, ah man, that's kind of nah, that's kind of difficult to accurately map someone's lineage, and then you have to think how far back, because again, DNA look, we would have to dig up a whole lot of graves to really do that accurately, and I don't think it can accurately be done. I have a somebody would really have to walk me through it, family member by family member, generation by generation, um, historical period by historical period. And I do not think there is any group of organizations, individuals, or researchers that has the time to do that for just one person. So I don't think it can be accurately done.
Okay, so what I will say is this, right? Census.
Mhm.
Census began in 1970. Let me just read this bit of information to you guys.
Mhm.
And this is
You
census.gov.
said 1970?
1790.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
1790.
The first census in the United States took place beginning on August 2nd,
Mhm.
1790. Although
Mhm.
it took months to collect the data from households, takers were instructed to collect information as of August 2nd. So, again, 1790. Think back how far that is. Like, that's a long fucking time to be taking damn census.
Yeah, so
So,
close to 300 years.
in a sense, again, the records are there. Although the DNA might not be there, the records are there. And that's just when they started it officially. So think about when they started unofficially. There's no telling. So I say all that to say that somewhere, again, in someone's documents or records, everything about each one of us to this present day can be documented. They don't throw those out, they don't burn them, they don't get rid of them. They store them for a reason. So again, although we, the average person, can't go back, if they wanted to, meaning the Census Bureau, they can go all the way back, at least until that year, particularly.
I don't think that would be accurate though. Um, and I say that because again, I watch Smithsonian Channel and all that stuff. Um, I was watching a particular episode of something. I don't remember the name of the show, but it talked about a library, and I want to say it was upstate New York, where they had census records in there, and it was a big fire, and a lot of that stuff was lost. Um, with the census being started in 1790, yes, that goes far back. I don't think that a lot of those records were accurately kept. Um, if you take into consideration that some of us of a darker skin complexion were treated as property, um, so we were given fictitious names. And what I mean by fictitious names was the names that individuals chose to place upon us. Um, so yeah, I would be interested to see. No, I wouldn't. Let me take that back. Let me take that back because I know I've moved several times in my life and I have census records scattered all over the place. Now, if it's collected in a central location, um, for every place that I've lived, I would be interested to see that part. Because I think if I saw that part, then I could probably take a little bit more value in the whole census research thing. But I think it would be too much, like you said, for you and I to do that because it's just too much. Um, yeah, yeah.
You gotta watch those fires though.
Huh?
So you gotta watch the fires though.
Yeah, got to, got to. So, your thoughts on being labeled Black, African American, Indigenous, or whatever? What's your preference?
Again, no disrespect to anyone. I think you should call yourself whatever you choose to call yourself.
Hmm.
But for me, I prefer either indigenous, or if you can't do that, uh, Niji. If you can't do that, then just give me Cherokee.
You know, I looked up that Niji word one day.
Hmm.
Um, in English, well, let me preface it by saying this. I don't know exactly where the word originated from, but in some countries, Niji is translated into cousin. Um, in some um, places, it's a derogatory term. Um, uh, in some places, it's described as a unemployed underage drunk. Um, in some slang terms, it's used for multiple niggas. Um, for example, Niji, 10 or more black niggas. Um, but there are here's the interesting thing about words. When some words were originated, they meant one thing, and as they went off through time, they became something totally different. I say that to say, call me black, call me African American, call me American, just don't call me anything derogatory or offensive because I'm probably not calling you anything derogatory or offensive. I don't take um I don't take offense to being called black or African American. I would prefer not to be called African American because I'm not African. Um, when I think of African American, I think of an African that came from Africa. It doesn't matter what their skin complexion is. I take that as a person who came from Africa who became an American citizen. Just like if someone comes from Poland to America, 9 times out of 10, I mean, we call them white for slang, but they're not white. They're Polish American. If someone comes from Germany, you're German American. If you come from Australia, Australian American. If you come from Italy, you're Italian American. So African American, again, I don't get bent out of shape about it, but that I just don't feel like that label fits me because I am not directly from Africa. Um, some people will get technical, will get technical with it and be like, well, you're a descendant of Africa, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, let's just say I am. Well, if that's the case, then 300 years ago, when the first ones brought over here, I don't even know if you can call them African Americans because America was not a country then. America was not a country until 1776. So I can't consider myself African American really.
I can understand that. The word African American, though, you and I know who made that.
Popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, there was a meaning behind that as well.
As with, yeah.
So, anyway, what else you got?
I encourage everybody to go out there and get that DNA test done. um, nah, but for real. We want to have this conversation because it's a, because when Sun Solex sent me that video, I was like, that's interesting. Um, uh, as with all of these conversations that I see online, on TV, or just over here, um, I think it's a lot of hearsay to me, and a lot of wishful thinking for a lot. Um, Again, I look at my situation alone. I can't even go past great grandparents. I can barely go past grandparents. Like I said, I only know one blood grandparent, just one, and that's my grandmother on my mother's side. So when it comes to all of that, I've gotten to the point in my life where it's all like it's all it's not serious anymore. Um, if I happen to build family lineage and find people and meet people before I leave this planet, cool. Um, but I don't think I could take it all that serious. I don't take it. I take it less serious now than I used to. I used to be kind of like Sun Solex. I used to be like, yeah, I'm this, I'm that, blah blah blah. But I used to be like, yeah, I'm African, blah blah blah. I used to be hard pressed about that, but I no longer am. I've seen in some videos and stuff like that. Oh, you feel like that because you're domesticated, not towards me, just in general. But it's like, hell,
Mm-hmm.
shit, we all domesticated. Anybody born in the last 100 years is domesticated. So you're domesticated to wherever you live. Um, and if you happen to move to another city, state, country, whatever, you're going to become domesticated to that environment. Um, if you do take DNA tests, hey, don't get your hopes up too high. You may get lucky, you may not. I got lucky, found one relative, and I'm cool with that. Um, but I think it takes too much energy, especially knowing that in 8 generations we got 256 great grandparents. Yeah, it's too much energy to find out exactly what. Am I from here? I'm from this continent. Like Sun Solex says, I'm from here, and I found no one else to tell me different. So that's where I'm at with it.
Well said, sir. I'll say this again, like I said at the beginning of the platform. We've been telling or we've been told who we are for a very long time,
Right.
but you really don't know who or what you are until you explore the ideal itself.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, what I'm encouraging everyone to do is do your own research. It's easy for us to get up here and give you numbers and give you what information we found, but you're not going to be convinced of anything we tell you until you do it yourself. Because what's true for Soul Toucher is not true for me. What's true for me is not true for Soul Toucher. It's just a matter of, again, you finding out who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to run into roadblocks. You're going to run into lost information. And again, you're going to run into the almighty fires. But again, you're not going to find any information if you don't look. So no matter if you call yourself um, Asian, uh, China, or someone from China, or someone from India, or someone from Europe, or whatever continent you come from, or whatever background you have, just realize you are you for a reason.
Hmm.
So don't let anyone ever take that away from you. If someone calls you out of your name, or um, call you by a name that you disagree with, so what?
Right.
Again, they're not you. They haven't walked in your shoes. They don't know what it's like to live in your life. So to hell with them in their opinion. At the end of the day, it only matters what you think about you or think of you. So, with that being said, um, again, just do your own research, man. Don't believe all the information that someone else has given you. I think if you believe in the information someone else has given you, you're only privy to have the information that's out there. And that's all I have.
I'll say all of us are related. Um, and if you think you're not, prove me wrong. Uh, I challenge anyone to prove me wrong. I challenge anyone to prove me wrong. And by the time you prove me wrong, we'll probably be dead for like 60 years. So I think we are related. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it for me. Um, I don't see no way that we all exist on this planet and we're not related somewhere, somehow. Um, like I said, 8 generations, we got 256 great grandparents. We are all related. We don't know how. So somebody out there is boning a cousin. So we all nasty. We all just nasty. We all boning our
Oh,
cousins and stuff.
man.
Hell, we probably boned our aunt or uncle or whatever your sexual preference is. Um, so hey, the world is the big orgy. But I'm pretty sure that like Son Solek said, my truth is not his truth is not mine, but I'm pretty sure somewhere in each of our truths they overlap somewhere. Um,
True that.
the one thing that I will say, um, and I'll refer back to the video. The link is in the description. So if you want to check out the video, you can check it out. You know what? I would, if you're for or against them, whatever. But I would say give the DNA test a chance. The one thing that I know that they said it's uh zero point 0.1 or 0.01% accurate. But the one thing that I can say about this, I submitted mine to ancestry.com. And I'm pretty sure there are millions, if not billions, of people who submitted their DNA to ancestry.com. And for me to find just one cousin is remarkable to me. You have to take into consideration that they receive millions of samples every day. And for me to find a verified blood cousin is remarkable. We can all have our apprehension towards them or whatever the case may be. We can all say they don't work. If that's what you believe, that's what you believe. But from my experience, it worked at least once. Um, like Sun Solek says, do your own research. However you perform your research, that's a part of my research. Um, and yeah, at the end of the day, we're all human. We're all people. So um, It makes no sense to divide and do all the things that we're doing out in this world because we're harming our family globally. Um, and I don't know. I mean, I guess hey, I guess I'll leave it at that. Again, I'm not calling this goddamn place Turtle Island though.
I'll leave you, meaning the audience, with three pieces of information. One, look up Turtle Island and don't do Google. Google is not going to tell you the truth. Two, look up Henrietta Lacks and the circumstances around Henrietta Lacks. And two or three, I will say, if people want to know more about um, the indigenous people of this continent, look up a guy called Dane Calloway.
Oh Lord, that guy.
DaneCalloway. Again, that's Dane Calloway.
Dan
Um,
Calloway ain't everybody's cup of tea, right?
no, I'm not saying that at all. But
Oh
I'm
man.
saying the information that he offers may be helpful to some. It's not going to be helpful to all. But anyway, again, you guys get a chance to look up Carly and the Universe. I'm telling you, their music is so dope. You won't be disappointed, unless you just don't like music. To me, that's just me.
Mm.
But we're hoping to have them on a platform in the upcoming future. So again, I believe the link to their music and to their website is here. Um, we posted it, so check them out.
Yeah.
And again, don't forget we got that Purple Gala coming up.
October 6th. No, October 8th. My bad. I messed up
Yep.
already. Oh yeah. And speaking back to the Purple Gala,
Mhm.
I said it before, but I misquoted her significance. Centonia Brown Long is an advocate for criminal justice reform and author of Free Centonia. For those who do not know or do not remember, she was jailed for murdering someone who, gosh, I don't want to get it wrong. Um, Matter of fact, let me just go ahead and look it up so I could be accurate. Um, so Centonia Brown, she was on August 5th, 2006, 2004. She was 16 at the time, met 43-year-old gentleman who she ended up killing. Well, she was charged for murder um, because of an incident that happened with her that was a domestic violence incident. But she's going to be the keynote speaker at the Purple Gala. So definitely encourage y'all to support the Purple Gala. You can find the information on Eventbrite. Just go in there and look up Purple Gala. If you go on Facebook or Instagram, look up She Did That Events. You'll find the organizer, Miss Tina Torres. Uh, she is the host of this Purple Gala. It's the seventh one. She does a lot, a lot of work in the community. She does a lot of advocacy. So if you can support her, definitely hit her up. Let her know that we sent you to her. Um, she's always looking for volunteers. She's always just making strides out there. I mean, she is a hard worker day in and day out, and I can't give her enough praise on that. Um, but we're going to be at the Purple Gala, so
Yes, we
definitely
are.
we are going to be broadcasting live from the Purple Gala. So definitely, uh, if you make your way down there to support that event, check us
You get,
out.
yeah, you get a chance to meet us. We're gonna be in the purple, y'all.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're gonna be looking like stars.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're gonna do it big at the Purple Gala. Check us out.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Um, but I don't have anything else. What about you,
Carly in the universe.
Carly
Blue
in the
Mark.
universe?
Carly
I
in the
should have,
universe.
I should have, I should have prepped up some of their music to rock out with, but I didn't. But yeah, we're gonna try to get them on here. Like Sun Soul Lex was describing in the beginning, if you like R&B, if you like that little jazz feel or whatever the case may be, check them out because they have some dope stuff. We was actually listening to some of that last night, and we was just sitting there rocking our heads like, yeah, that's it. So yeah, go check them out.
For sure. So until next time, again, you can find us on all your major podcast platforms. We
Yup,
on Instagram,
yup,
Twitter, YouTube. We
yup.
on
TikTok,
LinkedIn, TikTok.
TikTok.
We
Uh,
out here, man. We out here.
yes, we are. And on that note, I got nothing else.
Deuces to the truces.
Yeah, yeah.